John DeSando.
Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda pop with our friends. Turn off our cell phones and get away. Night or day, it's John DeSando on the radio. We'll watch the credits from up high and low. Cinema Classics on air.
Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando. It airs Thursdays at 8:01 p.m. on WCBE 90.5 FM. Listen to shows and to read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Kevin Carr.
And this is Cinema Classics. Well, Kevin, first I have to let everybody know I'm a former Catholic.
Uh-oh.
Okay, and
Isn't that worse than being Catholic?
it's all bad. And a few weeks ago, I'm going through this drill with Immaculate. And I don't know if you saw it. If you got it.
I've not yet seen it. I do want to see
Don't
it.
bother because it's just like Omen.
Okay.
No, but
A lot of connective tissue.
anyway, I enjoyed it, but of course I enjoy commenting on my 8 years with nuns.
Yeah.
And
Well, we talked about this during The Nun too,
We
because I
did,
believe
yes.
you did that several months ago.
I know we did. I know that. So anyway, we have the first Omen.
Yeah.
And not as if the regular Omen wasn't terrific and is, would you say, iconic?
Oh, very
Point-
iconic. Ironically, this is like the sixth Omen or something that
No,
they've
I
done.
can't keep track. But that one had Gregory Peck and Lee Remick.
Oh,
Wow.
beautiful Lee Remick.
Whoa, I saw a little bit of an interview with Gregory Peck. He was in his middle age,
Uh-huh.
and he was
always in his middle age.
yes, and he was saying that this was new for him. This was a
Mhm.
new bit, but I had to admire him because it's completely different from anything else he's done. Well, maybe not, but it is the type of movie itself. He
Well-
always plays the same guy.
Well, true, and even like there was this, there was a renaissance going on with film in general in the 70s, but in terms of horror movies and the supernatural horrors, the stuff, there was a lot of focus on demons and antichrists and everything like that, because you had The Exorcist, and all these came from books that had become big, and even other things like Audrey Rose and other things that you really wouldn't have been able to make a movie in the 50s. You know, the Hays Code wouldn't have allowed certain
Right,
things,
yeah.
and just some of the censoring, and it freed up a lot of stuff, and you don't want to say adult films because that makes it sound like it's pornographic, but you were seeing movies for grown-ups.
Well, I think this is Catholic porn.
Okay, sure.
They have a term for the nun something or other. They call it that, but it's just now its own subgenre.
Well, yeah. Well, and it's always, Hollywood's very secular until they do an exorcism or satanic movie, and then everyone finds Jesus.
All right, so the first Omen, Kev, what's your initial take on this thing?
Well, I mean, for those who don't know the story, it takes place leading up to the events of the original Omen movie from 1976, and it's told from the perspective of this young woman who's ready to go and take her final vows as a nun, and so she's in Rome serving at this orphanage and finds this mysterious girl who she thinks has a weird past, and kind of takes her under her wing and then starts to uncover the secrets behind it. And as I understand it, it was originally going to go to streaming. It was one of those like Smile,
all right,
where they did the movie, and then like, this actually might be pretty good. We should maybe release this in theaters. Mean Girls, the musical, was the same way. Very different story, or maybe not. But it was that idea that where they pivoted it into theaters, which I think was good. The biggest problem with this one is, as you mentioned, it's coming as a 1-2 punch with Immaculate.
Wow, I can't, usually they know what's coming up. I know my daughter was a D girl, so they always knew who was working on what.
Yeah.
And they could send people, if they send them the script, they know this is not our script, but send it over here. So I can't believe they didn't know they would be coming out at the same time.
Well, I mean, Neon did Immaculate, and so Neon's in a lot of ways under the radar. And the Double D girl, Sydney Sweeney, in Immaculate was.
Yes.
I don't think that this was high on anyone's radar because it just seemed to just appear suddenly, and I think they put a big push behind it after the success of Anyone But You, which was her romantic comedy with.
Well, let me tell you that both Sweeney
Mhm.
and now Nell Tiger Free.
Yeah.
Now, come on.
That's a
I
name.
mean, boy, what a name. Nell Tiger Free is terrific too.
Uh-huh.
The way Sweeney was. Both of them are fine young actresses that I hope have further roles because they are really good.
Well, and there's a couple moments in the first Omen. But most of the movie is her being very like you would expect a nun candidate to
I know
be.
what you're going to talk about.
Demure and quiet and
I know.
respectful. And then there are some where she really cuts loose.
Oh, yeah. What I love it. How human. They're gonna kick it up a little bit before she takes her vows.
Yeah.
And so she goes out with this friend of hers who I thought was as spectacular in many
Yeah.
ways.
It's a well cast movie. And I think that's what raised the quality of it.
Yeah.
It didn't seem cheap.
Yes, and so she goes out nightclubbing with her the night before.
Yeah.
And she just gets a little loopy and can't remember what happened. Oops.
Yeah.
And
So
so
we've all been there.
right. So she meets a young man, and I really like the way they wove this into the story.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I'm reticent to say too much about the story because
I know it's
you don't
just,
want to. Because here's the thing that is so weird. Anytime you do a prequel, you know it's going to. You're not going to stop the Antichrist from being born because he shows up in the original movie.
right.
You know, so all this stuff it's not telegraphed. It's just it exists before, and that's the danger of doing a prequel is being able to hold some stuff back, and they were able to still make it at least I thought an interesting a plot path. Even if you can predict things before they happen,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is more than just filling in the gaps or connecting the dots. It's actually telling a story, and I thought they did a pretty good job with that.
Boy, I would have to agree. And when she finally gets there, and it's always going to Rome, where else would you go?
Well,
It's just the same way that Cecilia did and Margaret. They're going to Rome to fulfill the job and to then take their vows. I mean, it's the same story. But I agree with you. I'm interested in what's happening in this film, even though I know, and that's part of what is the genius of good filmmaking.
Yeah.
Is even if you know the story, they will capture you and you will forget that you know the story and you will enjoy the movie. And that's because they know what they're doing.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's getting a good cast together. Like you said, she does a good job. She carries the movie.
Oh, wow.
And some other, I've been to other movies, and you're just like, the main character really didn't do it. But she really threw it out, and in all the parts. And the other thing I found interesting about the film was there's a lot, and this goes back again, this was not new information back in the 70s, because if you read the original Exorcist, they talk about this.
Right.
They're showing the what's demonic and what's just plain old mental illness.
Yeah.
And they actually address that in this. I mean, they don't come to conclusions or anything like that, but they point that out, and that was a big deal in The Exorcist, the original Exorcist, and other movies like that, where they're like saying, back hundreds of years ago when they didn't understand about schizophrenia, they thought they were possessed, and now you say, oh well, this is just ultimately a chemical imbalance. So, it allows you to question that and lead you down those paths, but then you still know jackals and antichrists and lightning is all going to show up at some point.
And births.
Yeah.
And I love that, of course, because my visions of nuns have remained fixed.
Yeah.
And I have mentioned with you before my incidents with nuns.
Yeah, but see, when you were correct me if I'm wrong, because my father went to Catholic school, and he would be like, no, the nuns are not like the nuns in the movies. You don't get a nun like Sydney Sweeney, or this girl Tiger
Free.
Tiger Free.
No, Tiger Free.
Your nuns never look like that. Your nuns end up looking like Judi Dench.
Yes.
Now.
and the major nun here, Sonia Braga.
Yeah.
But they all look the same to me. They all look just ugly and.
Well, because of the habit,
I know.
everything it frames and then you just like, oh, that's just an old face.
Yeah, that's right. It's great. It works. Now you know for those of you who are seeing our video, that I have dressed up somewhat
Oh.
for this role, taking the metaphoric black and white.
Oh.
And so I have my white jacket and my black glasses.
Ooh.
All right, so I just thought, I think the way you and Wayne frequently will come in with your costumes.
Yeah, my nun costume was at the cleaners this week.
Well, and I think one of the strengths of this movie is the actual, well, you can't call it virgin birth, I don't know, maybe you guys.
There was a birth.
Yeah, it is a birth.
Because you know what happens. You've seen the original
Right.
movie.
It is pretty spectacular filmmaking.
Well,
wouldn't
there's
you
also
say?
some graphic stuff in this
Yes.
that I was like, okay, they got away with that. Good for them.
Yes, yeah. And, you're not, as you said, you're not gonna stop the Antichrist from coming.
No.
This is the future. This is Damien, they name it, I don't know, is that like demonic?
No, I mean Damien's just. I mean, again, going back to The Exorcist, that was the priest's first name. It's just a name. It's just that's what they gave him, and then everybody just associates the Antichrist with Damien.
All right, Kevin Carr, we've got so much to say. People will have to turn to WCBE, the podcast experience, and to Double Take if they want to hear more.
Yeah,
about-
we'll be revealing other things about
Right,
the movie. I can talk
and
about.
you may even feel a presence in our presentation. But anyway, up to that point, Kevin, what do you advise our audience about the first Omen?
Well, I'd say go see it. I mean, don't expect something spectacular, but it's something different. And as prequels go, I thought they did a good job.
Yeah, you're reminding me that for our cinephiles in the audience, this is worth seeing to see what people can do, what filmmakers can do with material that's so well known. And that's where you and I talk about this. I just am amazed at their genius, that they can draw me in for 2 hours, and I know the story.
John DeSando.
Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda pop with